So what's on our list to talk about today?
Well, I think we agreed we were going to talk about late diagnosed people.
Yes, I think that's a great topic because I feel like we're seeing more and more late diagnoses. Do you
hmm
feel the same way?
Oh, without
Yeah.
question. I know there's a lot of stigma once again with old TikTok diagnosis, and a lot of people are worked up that, well, everybody's got ADHD.
I've been
Um,
hearing that.
but that's one of the things I am super grateful about. I know we've talked about it before, is that I got my diagnosis pre-TikTok.
Me too.
And so so no one can just say, oh, everybody's got ADHD. You must have seen it on TikTok.
hmm
Well, no, this has been going on for years now
Yeah.
and pre-TikTok. And so it's a little different.
Yeah.
Um,
So before we talk about because we're going to talk about our diagnosis and us getting diagnosed late in life, because we both were. I feel like we see a lot of, specifically women, probably our age, coming in and wanting to find out about that diagnosis. Do they have ADHD? And they're getting that late diagnosis. What is your thoughts, like number wise? I feel like we see quite a few of the older folks that are wanting the diagnosis over the 3 years that we've been doing this, 4 years we've been doing this. Do you feel like that numbers went up dramatically in the last year and a half?
I do. I do think that, but I don't think it's false diagnosis.
I agree.
Yes, it looks like it's exploded.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's new diagnoses that are just popping up. That's not a thing.
Yes.
I think it's the misdiagnosed. So many little girls are missed. And it's not until their coping skills are outweighed by the demands that their ADHD just shines.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think they're new diagnosis.
Mhm.
I think they're misdiagnosed.
I agree. And I know that I have read in different studies that and I see this in our practice, when we see these misdiagnoses, these girls have made it through elementary school, high school. Mom puts up sticky notes for them for reminders, and they get through school because it looks like they're paying attention, but they're, off in la la land, kind of daydreaming or whatever you want to call it. But they make it through school. Grades are decent, right? And so what I've kind of seen to see those late diagnoses is when they go off to college, because everything shifts. All of a sudden nobody's telling us how to
All
do
that executive
things.
dysfunction.
Yep. All the executive dysfunction shows up because we don't have anybody scheduling everything for us.
Right.
And then they say another time that we start to recognize that diagnosis is when we have kids, because all of a sudden we have little people that depend on us, and we're not just doing our own schedule. Now we've got other people's schedules to deal with, and the executive skills are not there.
Well, and it does show up in parenting so much.
Yes. Yeah.
With my own children. I know it's summertime, but right before school let out, there was a missed permission slip. That, there's so much executive functioning that goes into raising children that we just struggle with, and things just get missed.
Yes.
And then you double it. You have a neurodivergent kid and a mom. Well, that's just chaos.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So, and then the other time they say that we start to see that misdiagnosis show up is that perimenopause, which is kind of where you and I are at, and we got our diagnoses. So you think about that, and these women, they've raised their family, they've multitasked through everything, they've went to college probably themselves, and then all of a sudden they're like, hormone shifts, hormone changes, and they're like, I can't handle this anymore.
Right.
Things are not going. I forgot this and I forgot that, and I left the stove on, or I left my car running, or whatever it may be. The executive skills, again, it goes all back to that executive skills. We've built executive skills that have worked, and now all of a sudden they're not working.
They're not working because the demands are too much.
Yep.
And so then they're in our office.
Exactly. And they've been misdiagnosed with
anxiety and depression.
Yep.
Anxiety and depression.
Yep. So.
And it's not that there is no anxiety and depression, but a lot of times those are just the symptoms of, they're not their own diagnosis on their own. They're the symptoms of untreated ADHD. And if we treat ADHD appropriately, we see depression scores drop even without an antidepressant.
Exactly.
We hear women every week, well, everyone, not just women. We hear patients say every week, I started medicine and my anxiety is better.
Exactly. And I like to explain it to the way I'll explain it to my patients, because they'll come in seeking that fix for their anxiety. And so the way I explain it is once we discover the ADHD is there, I'll say, okay, this is your base. Your ADHD is your base. And what happens if you've got the anxiety and the depression, and that's because you've procrastinated and you've forgotten this and you've forgotten that. And that anxiety just continues to build until it's what looks like depression because we're like, I can't do any of it. I'm just done.
I remember I would sit on the edge of my bed and just beat myself up.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you do what all the other moms do? Why can't you? Why can't you? Why are you losing things? Why can't you get it together? Why can't?
Yeah.
And I would just beat myself up. And then the negative comments from my partner,
Mm-hmm.
just growing up with, authority figures. Why do I have to tell you this all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've told you this 3 times. Well, I didn't remember. Like, I don't retain certain information in that way. Yes, I lose my notebooks.
Mm-hmm.
I remember even in grad school, losing the charger to my computer. And I remember being at home. I had 2 children. I was in the middle of grad school. I just had a new baby. And I'm crying about a charger.
Yeah.
That I don't know. To this day, I don't know what happened to the charger. I left it like I was in class. I don't know.
Yeah.
But those things make us, here I'm in graduate school,
Yeah.
smart enough, good enough, yet I lost a charger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just made me feel so incompetent.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I can think, like, for me, I think it was, like, the fact that I couldn't memorize like other people could.
Yes.
So, like, I wanted, I always thought it'd be cool to be an ER nurse. And when I got out of nursing school, I was like, there's no way I could be an ER nurse. I can't memorize those things that those nurses memorize. And I remember being in the ER and the nurses would rattle off labs or, like the normal labs. I don't remember the normal labs. I look them up, And I always felt like somewhat below everybody because I had to go back and look it up. But now knowing what I know about ADHD, I didn't file like everyone else does. And we don't file the same way. We typically don't sleep well. So, and that's your time to file the memories. And we don't get to file those memories. So that explains.
Well, yeah, 80% of us have disordered sleeping.
Yeah.
Whether it's a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, sleep, and all of those things.
Yep, I am right in that 80%.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and then you throw in the perimenopause, and then
it's all she wrote.
Right. Agreed.
Okay, so now we've kind of talked about all of that. Let's talk about our diagnosis. How did you get where'd your diagnosis, where'd it come from?
So I had been told my whole adult life that I had anxiety and depression, and I was put on medicine, multiple medicines, always trying to fix that. And it never quite did. I didn't ever feel much better. I just didn't feel better. And so I just lived with it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this just is what it is. It's fine. I'll figure life out. And then I was in PA school. I was in my ER rotation, and I went to tell my attending about a patient. And I told her my spiel, and she looked at me like, the look was just like confusion. And the way she looked at me, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I already knew the look was like confusion, disappointment.
You'd gotten the look before.
Yeah, I got the look before. I already knew what I had said was not appropriate. Whatever it was I said wasn't what she was looking for. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I have anxiety. Can I tell you again? And she cocked her head and she said, you have ADHD. You need to see your doctor. And I was like, what the hell are you talking? Like, we didn't learn anything about it in school.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. No one had ever said anything to me. I didn't know. I didn't know. Both of my children struggling in school.
Yep.
Nobody even at the school said anything. Like, I remember my first one when he was in 2nd grade, there was comments about attention level, but no one told me you need to take your kid in. I remember even telling my sister, and she was like, oh yeah, I've already been diagnosed. And I was like, wait, what?
She didn't even talk to you about it?
No, I don't think she knew either. I don't think, no one said to her, hey, this is inheritable. Maybe you need to talk to your siblings.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know. I didn't know.
Yep.
So it was very, I went back to my doctor and I told him what happened. And he said, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I should have seen it all along. And then he sent me to do what we do.
Yeah.
He sent me for neuropsych testing and it all came back positive. And then, of course, just like everyone else apparently is the thing to do, put me right on Adderall. Just Adderall and sent me on about my way.
Okay.
And no one said anything. No one told me that it was genetic. No one told me to get my kids checked out.
Yeah.
Nobody told me that all of these women were misdiagnosed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody told me until I started doing the research and going, holy crap, there's a whole generation of women that we got. Oh, all the signs were there. I have distinct memories. I mean, I can tell you moment after moment after moment from elementary school until graduate school.
Yep.
Moments that set in stone my diagnosis. I can see it on Facebook. Memories pop up from Facebook from undergrad where I'm just like, well, there it is.
Yep.
There it is. So you don't say.
Yeah.
And nobody ever said a word. And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah. That's
because
awesome.
I knew that I wasn't the only one, that everybody else needed help too.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yes.
And so it changed everything. I mean, that first day on medicine, I tell people that it's life-changing. And I know that doesn't happen for everyone, and I know it sounds cliche. The first day on medicine, I felt like fog had been lifted, like
Yeah.
I was like, y'all wake up like this?
I know. Yeah, I know the feeling. I remember coming home, like, I don't think I recognized it I felt that clarity, like, the first day, but I didn't recognize what was happening because I had racing thoughts because I think that was more of my issue than anything else was the racing thoughts. And I had had them for so many years that the first time I heard silence. I legitly heard silence. And I was like, oh, and I turned on a radio or like music because I was like, that's weird. And then it happened like the second day and I was like, that's my brain. It's quiet. And I remember I went home, told my husband, I was like, you ever heard silence? And he's like, is that a trick question? But it wasn't a trick question. Like I had never had silence in my brain because I always just had the running thoughts that we have that just went and went.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally understand that. Like that moment of like, oh wow, this is what it's really like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know this story, but how did you get your diagnosis?
You gave it to me. So yeah, I'm my story is probably a lot like yours. Like after you gave me the diagnosis, like I can tell you from like moments in elementary school, high school, like they just raising my kids. So when I got diagnosed, we were in the military together. And I remember exactly where we were sitting. I remember what base we were at. We were sitting in my Jeep, having lunch together. And I remember, I don't even know how we got on the subject. We were talking about ADHD. And I remember looking at you and going, do you think I have ADHD? And the look on your face was like, oh, she finally asked me.
So do you know what I've never told you?
What is that?
Is when I figured it out.
Okay, when did you figure it out?
So that wasn't the day I figured it out.
No, you already had it figured out at that point.
So it was the day that you asked me about anxiety, and we were sitting in the cages area of the armory.
Oh yes, that was. Oh, I was.
So when I can even tell you where we were sitting. We were walking in. You make a right, and we sat down on a pile of wood, like a stack.
Yes.
And you were telling me about your children. And you were what you said was anxiety. And I believed you were dealing with anxiety.
Yep.
It was the way you told me the story. It was, and I hate to say broken. It wasn't broken in a bad way, but you jumped from, like the conversation jumped.
Yes.
And so I knew you were under distress, obviously, but then that's where my mind went, oh, okay, that's
awesome. That's when you figured it out. Okay.
So
I remember that day because I was like, we had a lot going on. There was a lot happening in our family.
But
yes.
Once again, it was when your coping skills were outweighed by your demands.
Exactly.
Is when it showed, like, it was there.
Yeah. And it was happening before that.
Right.
But I didn't know, I didn't know what was happening. I knew that I wasn't handling things like I used to be able to handle them. And that was kind of my breaking point
Right.
when I came to you that day. And still, like, even then, like, I didn't know enough about ADHD to know that it was ADHD.
Well, and now you see why I don't say anything, though.
Yes, because you needed me to come to terms with that.
Because it does have a stigma.
Mhm.
And when you already know, as a provider, when you say things to people, if they're not ready to hear it, they can't hear it.
Yeah,
And you kind of got to let them, like,
figure it out.
yeah, in a
Remember-
social setting. In
Yes,
a social setting.
exactly.
Now, when someone comes in asking for an evaluation, that's different.
Yes, of course. But I can think back, like you, and you've heard me tell this story. I remember the library teacher making me cry because I had forgot my library books for who knows how many weeks in a row,
Mhm.
and making me sit in the hallway. That was like probably one of the most traumatizing things that had happened to me as a kid in school. And that seems so like probably petty to some people or silly, but that was one of those moments. I know it was my ADHD that was making me forget I couldn't remember my library books to save my life. And then, like I remember being the kid that sat in class and I'd stare out the window and was in my own thoughts. And then afterward I'd be like, oh no, what did we talk about? Yeah. And, pray the teacher didn't call on me, because if I didn't know where we were at in the sentence or the paragraph we were reading, we've talked about this one, the whole, like, you read ahead in the paragraph so you know which one's gonna be yours to read. Yeah.
And then it's
so true. It's
never
so true.
quite right.
No, yeah, exactly. But like all of that leading up, and then to the point now, knowing what I know about ADHD, I was at that breaking point where my executive skills were not working anymore, the ones that I had created that had worked for so many years. I think I knew, I just hadn't really started to kind of process
Well, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to process, because then when you finally you get a diagnosis and you like get it, you start taking it in, you have to reprocess everything.
Yeah.
You start reprocessing how you parented, how school went, your intimate relationships. Those things all get questioned, and you just have to like sift through. It's like you're looking with new lenses, and it's not easy.
No. So you were like, yeah, you've got ADHD, and I think, I started on Adderall, like,
yeah, normal.
And but knowing, I think the one thing that was so good for me, we started with Adderall, but that wasn't my only option.
Right.
There are so many of these medications that are stimulants out there that doesn't have to be where you stop. So if you do get a diagnosis and your doctor says, oh, Adderall's all your choices are. No, it's not.
It's not. And we get so many people who've been put on a stimulant, and that's fine. That it's first line treatment, textbook treatment. I'm here for it. But then it's never readdressed.
Yeah.
It's never followed up on. I'll see you in 3 months. And it's never like personally tailored.
Exactly. It's very individualized what works for you. And I've probably tried 5 different medications till we fell on the one that I feel like fits me best. But it was so nice to know that you were like, hey, let's try this and see if it works. Let's try this med. Okay, that doesn't work. Let's try this med. Until we got to that point. And I think that's super important for people to know, that you don't have to just take the one med and it be okay. Like, ask questions, do your own research.
There's so many options.
So many options.
I would say 98% of the time, we find something that works.
Yep.
It just might take us a while to get there.
Exactly.
And no, it's not perfect. No, it doesn't cure ADHD. No, it doesn't take all of the symptoms away.
Yeah.
It's just beneficial. It's just helpful.
Yeah. It gives you a foundation. I feel like a foundation to build on, because once we can slow that brain process so you can think through your thoughts, you can create those executive skills that work for you, that work for your family,
right,
that help you get through every single day. So I think that's really important for people to know, that you don't have to just settle. You can ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask your provider. If they don't have the answer, hopefully they're willing to find somebody that does for you. Right. And again, I think that's what we do great here, is we allow people to ask questions and we tailor it to fit their lifestyle.
I think people think that we get something
Yeah.
based on a medicine we put you on. We don't make money.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get a kickback. So what medicine we put you on is individualized. I don't get anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's a good thing.
Yep.
What medicine you're on is what medicine you need.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different for everybody.
Yeah. Yep. I would say one of the things that I really like to do to tailor for people medicine, you may be on a long acting, but if your lifestyle doesn't fit a long acting 10 to 12 hour medication, maybe it's only lasting 10 hours, maybe it's only lasting 8, and we've tried other things.
Mm-hmm.
Boosters, there's nothing wrong with doing a short acting booster. And I think that's that tailoring, whether it's for your college student that needs to study later, or your mom that has soccer practice all evening, and her meds get her through her first part of her day, but not the evening. Like being able to ask somebody, hey, can we make this fit my lifestyle better? I think that's super important for people to understand it. And
yeah, it is, because even the meds aren't perfect.
Yeah.
And everybody's lifestyle is so different and their needs are different.
Yep.
With the same diagnosis, we all take different medicine. Even my 2 children both have diagnosis. All 3 of us take a different medicine.
Yep.
And we just do what works for each of us.
Mm-hmm.
People will say, well, my friend takes this. Can I try it? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. If you want,
Yep.
we can try it.
Yeah.
We don't know. And I tell that to all of my new patients. Hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
We just start somewhere. We follow the path. I don't know where the path is going to go. We just do what's best for you. And where that lands, I have no idea.
Exactly.
So just know this is a journey. We're going on it.
Yep. Day by day.
Day by day.
Yeah.
And I think some people, they're sometimes put off by that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, well, you're the professional. You should know. Well, I don't know. I don't know because you're different.
Yeah.
You are a person. Your needs are different. Your day is different.
Yep.
And I'm gonna hopefully you and I are gonna work together
Exactly.
to find what works best for you. But you have to make decisions too. I'm gonna give you the options. Which way do you want to go? Time coverage.
Yeah. So the medication that I currently take, and you and I've talked about this, like I don't think it controls all of my fidgeting or sometimes my fast-paced speech.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't control all those things for me, but it gets me the clarity that I need for a very long period of time. Because I can't have an evening crash. That doesn't work for me and my family.
Right.
So even though it may not completely cover everything that maybe somebody else would feel is more important, it covers my needs. And I think that's super important for the patient, for them to understand, like, this is really about you. What coverage do you need?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think it's important to have that because they don't get those options at their PCP.
Yeah. Well, and even I think just in general, as a group of people, all of us feel like we are supposed to go to the doctor's office and do what the doctor tells us. And I don't want that to be the case. I want people to know you have options. You can tell them, hey, this is not working for me. Or I still have anxiety. We kind of went off on a tangent on our meds here, but like anxiety, I always said I didn't have anxiety.
Right.
And now I think back and I look, well, I can tell you a therapist kind of helped me discover this. I was telling her about a situation and I had said, oh, it's just going to be exciting. Oh, it's just going to be exciting. And she said I had said that like 3 times in the sentence. And she's like, that's anxiety. And I was like, what? And she's like, you code everything as excitement. And really, it's anxiety. And I had not realized, I told her later, I was like, could you take that back? Because my whole life's been exciting.
Right?
Just ruined everything. But no, it really opened my eyes to the fact that sometimes we can't even see our own anxiety because we've coded it to be something different in our life, or depression, whatever it may be. Because we've grown up with it. We've allowed, we've just made it into whatever we needed it to be.
Well, we live with it just the same. I mean, how many patients do you get, new patients? We go through all the paperwork and it's like severe anxiety, severe depression. And we're like, hey, let's talk about your mood. I'm fine.
Yep.
And I go, okay, well, the documents say, the screenings say you got some pretty severe depression, and you try to like talk them like what does this look like? Are you doing everything you need to do? Have you stopped doing the things you like to do? And you will even ask them, do you want to do something about it? Can I help you with this? No, it's good. I'm fine.
Yeah. Because they've lived with it so long, they don't know there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was.
I go, okay, if you change your mind,
yeah.
If you change your mind, we can absolutely attempt to address it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they don't want to.
Nope. Nope.
And I go, okay, is that severe? Severe.
We'll only address this at the second visit.
But whatever you want. I mean, if you're not having any struggles.
I mean, I think going back to that late diagnosis, the takeaway, I would hope, would be if you are male or female.
Absolutely.
And you've went through all of your life, you're 35, 45, 60, don't be afraid to ask your provider. Don't be afraid to question it and get that diagnosis, because there's nothing wrong with that. I hear people like, I'll say something about ADHD, or I have ADHD, and they're like, yeah, I've probably had it all my life, but there's no point in fixing it now. And I'm like,
oh no, there's always
a point. You try, you
it doesn't have to be that hard. Life
Exactly.
doesn't have to be that hard. And I would tell all the adults, I mean, if your kids have gotten a diagnosis, go take a screening online even. Just take a screening online. If it's positive, seek out some help.
Yep, exactly. It's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to know they have ADHD. Maybe some people want to know and they don't want to treat it still. That's okay. You don't have to. But the knowledge of knowing gives you the options that are available to you.
Right. So yeah, I would tell anybody, if you think this is a possibility, tell somebody, take some screenings, see if you're barking up the right tree, and if you are, get help.
Yeah. Especially if your anxiety meds and your depression meds are not working. See what else is going on.
Absolutely.
So
I agree.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I think that was pretty good.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us here on Stir Crazy. We hope you like our video, leave some comments, give us some ideas for our next few videos, and we'll be back with you hopefully in a week.
In a week.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.